Computer games, binge eating, alcohol, these sorts of activities. There are so many reasons that a person might engage in these. But if you have ADHD, one of the reasons that you probably find yourself doing this a lot more than you might like to is because they are neuro-regulatory. And what does that mean? Neuro means brain. Neuro-regulatory, therefore, means brain regulatory. There are so many things that someone with ADHD might sort of need to do more often than people who don't have it, because there's more going on up here. There is more that requires regulating. And if to regulate something, particularly in this context, we're talking about down-regulating. So things might be too up, too elevated, too much going on, too much noise. So what we want to do, we seek behaviors, we seek activities that are going to down-regulate, that are going to turn that volume, turn that dial down on whatever's going on inside. Now, the thing that's very interesting about these behaviors is that you may not even realize that there's a lot going on. Often that can be a really subconscious thing. There's just this like high neural load that I've talked about before, where things add up and suddenly we're not even sure really why we're doing this stuff, but we might just get stuck in this loop, playing computer games till 4 a.m, or just binge watching a show that we're not even that interested in, but we can't really stop. Now, these things aren't a problem unless they're a problem. And if you've made it this far in the video, you can probably relate to some of that. So, why is this relevant? What can we do with that information? Well, first of all, understanding that there's probably a reason that those behaviors are occurring. And again, like just to be really, really clear, there are many reasons that someone may get involved in these sorts of activities, addiction, etc. There's a whole field of stuff here, and I do not in any way want to invalidate. It's like, oh yeah, it's just because of regulation, yeah. No, there's other reasons, but also regulation is an important thing to look at. And what are some of the other activities that we might do to regulate? Well, really small ones, even little fidgeting movements, playing with things, clicking a pen. Those are like bouncing up and down, all of the hyperactive things that an ADHD person typically does if they're more in that hyperactive presentation. These are things that we do to turn the noise down. Movement is neuro-regulatory. You should really pay attention to that fact. Movement quietens the mind. Small little fidgeting things, or, twirling your hair or clicking a pen, whatever it might be, playing with little fidget toys, really, really great one, if you know what those are. Those things help turn the volume down. But why might we need to turn it down? And this is what I really, really, really want you to start looking at. One of the ways that if you're stuck playing games, and I'm just going to use that for example, because it's often a relatable one, you can't get out, but you really want to. But it's just giving you something, but you don't quite know what. You might not even be aware at that level to realize, anyway, you're stuck in it for some reason. Now, one thing that we might try to do, obviously, is berate ourselves, get really upset, feel guilty, and spiral from there because we feel like we're not good people because we can't stop doing a thing that we're trying to stop. That's an option, sure. Wouldn't recommend that one, but one thing that we can do, especially if we might understand what's going on, if we can go, hang on, I'm doing this thing and I can't stop. Is there something that I'm trying to regulate? Is there something going on that I am needing to turn the volume down on? And that's when we might look at pressures, demands. What's going on in your life? Are there stresses? Are there obligations? Is there a little bit too much going on? Because you might find that these behaviors, which are often, we can call them avoidant behaviors, you might find that if you were a bit more attentive to what was happening in your life, you might go, oh, well, duh, that's why I'm doing this, because Greg at work is being a dick. Oh, it's so stressful. No wonder I come home and just want to, drink and play games. Like, duh. I'm trying to cope. I'm trying to manage with the elevated extent to which that affects me. But there are better ways, and we know there are better ways, but we still do the thing anyway. And some of the better ways include, like for me, as I have probably mentioned already, just being in nature. Putting the phone down, being like taking myself out on a little road trip, not even that far, just somewhere slightly more secluded, being surrounded by birds and bees and trees. Nothing really quietens and calms my mind quite like that. But if I'm in quite a dysregulated state, that's what we might call when there's too much noise and we're not managing ourselves well, and that's when we'll get stuck in these behaviors. If we're dysregulated, we're probably not making these good choices. We're not in a state where we're able to go, you know what I really need? I should go into nature, yeah. Because we might just be trying to cope. And maybe just a little bit more of that activity, without the guilt, without the shame, without the judgment, it might give you what you're looking for that little bit faster. That might let you start making those more proactive decisions, might start letting you go, hey, now that I've calmed things down a bit, now that I've down-regulated all the blah, I should get my butt out into nature. That'd be really good for me as the next step as I pick myself up more and more. So, purpose of this video, sharing that awareness, sharing that concept, bringing your attention to it, as being aware of it is really important for me. I get stuck in these things just as much as anyone, and being aware of what's going on is often what helps me pull myself out. So sharing in case that's helpful. If it was, if you like this, you want to see more, I'll be here same time tomorrow. Well, I'll be here tomorrow. Daily uploads every single day of 2024. Hit that subscribe button and I'll see you tomorrow.